Hi there. As I'm sitting here folding my household laundry, it occurred to me that maybe I could do a video that talks about all the different ways not using your dryer or line drying your clothing and other laundry can save you money. And there's more than just the one way, the obvious way of saving money. I believe we all are familiar with the obvious way of saving money when you don't use your dryer. Obviously, you save electricity, which is true, you do. Dryers take a lot of electricity, especially older dryers. They aren't as efficient as the newer dryers are. You also spare your clothing the wear and the tear from the dryer. So as the dryer's churning and the heat and the friction, it's taking a toll on your clothing. Now, I have been line drying almost entirely for the last probably 11 years. Very seldomly do I use my dryer, only in like absolutely necessary situations. Look at my nice background here. This is part of my laundry system as well. I pile it all up here on my bed, and then I sort it out in baskets to whom it belongs to or where it belongs, and then I filter through it. And I like to sit on my bed while I do it. It's kind of, even though it's a job, it's kind of like a break because I'm sitting here resting. Sometimes I listen to music. But I do laundry for at least 7 people every week. And initially, hanging your clothing can seem like a lot of excess work, but there are advantages. So I just mentioned we have the obvious electricity. We have the wear and tear on the clothing. Well, there's also an advantage of money, sort of, in line drying your clothes, because when you take your clothes down from the line, if you lay them in the basket kind of nicely, and I'm not saying fold them, but just don't crumple them up in a ball, you don't have to fold them immediately. Whereas a dryer, when you take the clothes out, if you don't address them immediately while they're still warm, they're going to get wrinkly and look atrocious. So when that happens, what do you have to do? Well, you've got to rewash them. You've got to deal with wrinkly clothes. You've got to spray them with wrinkle release. You got to put them in the steamy shower room, So you kind of have a little more freedom in when you're going to deal with those. And you also, save money by not having to rewash them or address them once they're wrinkled. Because sometimes, we forget about clothes in the dryer, or we don't have time to address them when they're finished. Another thing is, when you're not using your dryer, you're not risking shrinking anything. You're not going to destroy t-shirts, shrink things that are not supposed to be shrunk. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about misforming things, because when you line dry things outside, that doesn't happen. And we all know that the quality of some of these materials are becoming worse and worse and worse, and it's extremely frustrating when you have something new and you pop it in the dryer, even though you're following, instructions, and it becomes shrunk. So frustrating. So you don't have to worry about that. You're saving money by not destroying clothing. You also don't really need fabric softener. When you line dry things outside, there is just this beautiful, fresh scent that, gets into your clothing, into your linens, and it's a lovely fragrance. You don't have to add anything artificial. You can if you want to. No one says you can't, but it's really not necessary. And the final reason that I believe line drying your clothes is such an incredible savings is that you never had to replace a dryer. I mean, when you use your dryer next to none, you don't have to replace it. So that can be fairly expensive depending on the type of model that you buy. And we all know washers and dryers, they don't last forever. Washers and dryers don't last forever. But when you're line drying outside, your dryer is going to last a really long time because you're using it hardly ever. Or maybe you're drying in your basement in the colder months or rainy days. That's what I do. Or I use drying racks. But I have not purchased a dryer. My old house, there was a used dryer. I had it for 10 years. Still worked when I left. Never had to replace it. And now here at my new house, there's a newer washer and dryer. And no, actually, I'm sorry. The washer was new. The dryer is ancient history. And, you know, I may not need to replace it. So that being said, I do periodically use my dryer. It's been maybe in the last year, maybe 3 or 4 times I've used it, like in a pinch type of situation. So, for example, yesterday I actually used my dryer. I washed my bed linens. I also washed my mattress protector. And I only have one mattress protector. Well, I got it out to dry a little late, and it was a little damp. And I needed to put it back on my bed. So I popped it in the dryer on low for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then it was dry. But that is the first I have used my dryer in at least 6 months. It might be longer. But so all these things combined really do save you a lot of money, especially the wear and tear on clothing and the never having to buy a dryer. But the wear and tear on clothing, you will be amazed if you start doing this. You will be amazed at how clothing will retain a lot of its newness. And I think that you will really find a benefit. So there's more benefits to saving just the money on electricity with line drying your clothing. So I hope you enjoyed this video about saving money. I'll talk to you later. Bye.